Well, we are back with episode 6 of Gotham Knights. We had a nice week off last week, but unfortunately, it is back again. It just had to make its return. This episode is just as shit as the rest of the season, if not worse. In some aspects, they create a lot of problems, not only for its foundation, but also going forwards. And I don't think they've realised it. What problems they've created for themselves. We do have certain dumb shit that's probably the dumbest thing we've had throughout the entire season so far. And again, it's just, we have the majority of the episode is dedicated to a conversation that goes on and on and on to get a tiny piece of information that we already have. So that's what we do this week. We really get ourselves nowhere. And I think, as I said, the previous episode, where, remember, they had to go and steal a file for, like, the 78th time. They then had to crack a code, and, yeah, they spent the entire episode on that. None of that made any sense either. So it's really lacking in that department of anything making any sense whatsoever. But, again, it's Batwoman writers. So I expect nothing less. But let's just get into this episode, shall we? The previous episode, yeah, they stole a file to do with the accounts of the Court of Owls. Because the Court of Owls somehow have a shared bank account. I don't know why. I don't know why they've done that. So that was what we got last week. It was just go and get this book, and then we'll crack the code in this episode. And I'm pretty sure that's really all there was to it in episode 5. So this episode, we're starting out with Joe Chill. And this is where they create a lot of problems for themselves. And I can't really do nothing but laugh at them. So we have the news. Over the news, it starts up saying Joe Chill is now being put to death after 50 years on death row. Now, the problem we run into is, of course, having the death penalty in Gotham. There's a reason why you can't have a death penalty in Gotham, because otherwise, Batman, if you try and set it up in a way, Batman fought the Joker for years, the Joker killed all these people, and not once got the death penalty, so you cannot introduce the death penalty now. So you've now royally fucked your foundation. You've now made it so Batman fought the Joker for years. The Joker kills people. That's something you get put on death row for. Why did the Joker never get sentenced to death? Again, there's a reason why Gotham is established as not having the death penalty, because you need a justification there for why Batman would keep fighting his rogues gallery. That's why you can't have the death penalty. And now moving forward, what you've done is you've written yourself into a corner, because now you can't have, let's just assume this was getting more seasons, which it probably isn't. You cannot have recurring villains now. You cannot have villains that have killed somebody and then they come back again, because you have now introduced the death penalty into Gotham. Even though you can't do that. What your entire show is based on, you're not able to do that. Because now it's just like, so Batman just showed up, he caught the Joker once, and that was the end of that. He caught the Riddler once, that was the end of that. Because you've now introduced, that's how it should work now, but that's not what what you're based on. They've mentioned the Joker multiple times about Batman always stopping the Joker. So why did the Joker never get sentenced to death? Because you can't have the death penalty, because you need a reason for why the criminals don't just get killed. So that's the problems that they've created for themselves. Again, I don't know how you fuck also the foundation. I don't know, but apparently Joe Chill has been on death for 50 years. Now, I did Google search that. I think the longest anybody's been on death row is about 40 years. So, fair enough, although I'm like, so when Batman actually died in this show, he was, what, 57, 58, close to 60? Is that what, when Batman's parents get killed, what is he, around 6, 7, 8? Round about that age. So Joe, if that was 50 years ago, I don't know why they've done it that way, but fine. Batman, when he died, was now like almost in his 60s. Even though we seen him in the first episode, he didn't look like an old man. So, I don't know why you've done it 50 years. I don't know why someone would be on death row for 50 years. I really don't know. So that's what we start off with within the first 30 seconds of the show. We've introduced the death penalty. It's like, well, you can't do that, can you? Again, the Foundation is already... Batman fought his villains for years and years and years. They always escaped out of this place and that place. Whereas if they had the death penalty, that wouldn't happen, would they? They would just get executed straight away, put on death row, done. So you done that, and then it's also, again, going forward, if you wanted to have recurring villains that escape, well, you can't do that because it's like, well, they're on death row. You've introduced the death penalty. So that's what we start off with. It's Joe fucking Chill for some reason. And basically, again, so it's the conversation eventually between him and Turner that take up the majority of the episode just to get a piece of information that we already have. So it's like, it's a complete waste of time. All you needed to have was maybe a 5-minute scene. You didn't have to drag it out for 40 minutes. So you've got Harvey Dent going to meet him, and Joe Chill's like, what does he say? Why do you think after 50 years on death row, the city is suddenly itching to execute me? Yeah, but you already know that you're on death row. So the idea that it's an itch to get rid of you... I'm like, well, you're on death. You've been on death row for 50 years. You must be assuming that my day must be here by now. Even, 50 years on death row. It's like, at that point, there's no point being on fucking death row at that point, is there? You might as well just be put in a normal prison. 50 years on death row. The most pointless shit I've ever heard. Generally, like, the average of time that people are in death row, what, maybe 10 years, round about there? Again, there's certain very rare cases where people have been on death row for 40 years at the most, but 50 years. It's like, you might as well have just given him a life sentence. The guy is like in his 80s. It's like, there's no point. I would understand a bit more if the guy was like, I don't know, like 18 when he did it. But the fact you've made him this really, really old guy and then you've sentenced him to 50 years on death row. Right, okay. So, yeah, he's like, suddenly they're itching to execute me. And then he shows like the Court of Owls coin. That for some reason, the Court of Owls, what they do is they let people know that they're going to kill them first by sending them a coin. Why? They're the worst secret society I have ever heard of. The worst. It gets worse later on, but, that's towards the end of the episode. But I don't know why you're telling people you're going to kill them. That just seems a bit stupid to me. You've now got all these coins getting out there. That may raise questions. And you are a secret society, and you don't want questions to be raised about your secret society. So maybe don't send out your coins to go, oh, we're coming to kill you, we are. I don't know why you're telling me. Just do it. Fucking playing all these games. So, yeah, he shows Harvey the coin. And he says, Harvey's like, oh, do you have any information on him? And Joe Chill says, I only want to talk to the kid that killed Batman. Why? I don't know. It's essentially just to tell Turner, I'm innocent. That's it. That is all. And again, the information he gives up about the Court of Owls, we already know that. The characters all know that. So it's a complete waste of time. But yeah, that's the only person that Joe Chill will talk to. So we're coming back here eventually. So we've then got Stephanie's dad, who, I'm just going to say it now, is, we all know it. We all know he's just going to be the Riddler. I mean, you've got he's like the quiz master, some quiz show that Stephanie's dad. I'm like, already it's like, oh, if you're to get a season 2, this is probably going to be the Riddler. They just make it obvious. So it's like, I don't really get this. What is it? It's like a game show from the fucking 60s. I'm like, you do realise this is set in 2023. And even the crowd is like, I'm like, is this the 60s? You do realise that you're in current day. But like, everyone's like dressed like, it's like, who the fuck still dresses like that? I don't know. So he goes and talks to his daughter, sitting in the chair, reading the questions. And then she's like, she shows her dad this, the book we got in the previous episode that has all the accounts and whatever within, like, you have to break the code. So she goes to her dad and hands him this book and like, can you help me out with this? You're very smart. You're the quiz master. Can you help me out? She says, oh, it's for school. I'm like, why would he believe that you handing him this book of all these numbers is for school? I don't know, but that's why she's there. He says to her, so essentially what they're doing here is trying to have it, he's, because he doesn't help her properly. What he does is, he gives her a clue on something that she has no fucking reference of. So he doesn't actually help her at all, but they pretend like he does. So he says something like, fear not, my little Sherlock. You'll figure it out at last. I don't, that doesn't sound right. You'll figure it out at last. I've never heard it said that way. Maybe we've got some English teachers watching this. I doubt it. But that doesn't sound right. You'll figure it out at last, rather than you'll figure it out eventually. But they play it off as, oh no, he's actually helping her by giving her a clue that she has no reference for. So it's like, oh, you've really done nothing. It's lucky that one of our other genius characters knows about what her dad says, apparently. So that's apparently the clue he's gave her, is you'll figure it out at last, my little Sherlock. And the word fear. That's apparently what they go on. So that's what we go there for. And then Harvey Dent rings her up. But before finding that out, we go to the fucking hospital for some reason, where Carrie, because her mum's mad at her for not turning up to the fucking school thing yesterday, she now has to go to the hospital where her mum works to do her homework. So yeah, we jump from wanting to find out what Harvey says to, again, it's another side plot that has fuck all to do with anything. It's clearly just, well, in her contract it says she needs to be in every episode, so we can't think of anything. We can't think of anything to give them to do, so we're just gonna have her at the hospital, which eventually gets fucking so retarded. I'm just speechless. But that's, again, it's the same as the previous episode where you had Stephanie, oh, her mum's a crack whore, and she gives a speech, and it plays into nothing of the episode. It's got nothing to do with anything. Whereas if you're going to have these little side things, have it at least play into the main thing that is going on. But no, it's just, oh, Carrie's gone to the hospital to do some homework. And then later on, she does something that makes no fucking sense at all. We'll get to it. I want to hold off on it because it is fucking dumb. So, yeah, we get that, and then it jumps back to the thing. So I'm like, yeah, we didn't need that scene, did we? We did. If you can't think of anything to give the character to do, just don't have them in the episode. It's that simple. If you have to have it this way, oh, she can't team up with the Gotham Knights because she's been made to, it's like you just have a, maybe Turner has a phone call with her, and he's like, oh, all right, you can't turn up because your mum's making you do this. You don't need to have anything there. but it was clearly in a contract of 12 episodes. That's how many episodes you're being given. And it's just so obvious because it's like it's going nowhere. So then they start. So yeah, that's when what's her face? That's when Stephanie starts telling Turner that what Harvey wants to do is he wants to set up a meeting between you and Joe Chill. And it's like, so he now knows that Stephanie knows where the Gotham Knights are. She knows where they are. It's like all of this shit could easily be a trap, but it isn't really thought through. But that's what we got to do because Joe Chill will only talk to Turner Hayes for some reason. We've just got to do it that way. We've got to waste a bit of time. So that's essentially what Harvey rang Stephanie for. Duella is cooming over him. She's like, he's the original baddie. He changed the criminal underworld forever. No, he just shot a couple of people. He changed the criminal underworld, not the Joker. Not the pet. No, Joe Chill. He changed it all. He fucking changed the game by killing a couple of people. Right, he wasn't the first to do it. Right, whatever. But yeah, she's like, I want to ride him. I want to ride him in the battle. I don't really get what they're going for with Duella. It's just like, you're crazy, but you're working with the Gotham Knights. I'm like, why is anyone else working with you when you're like obsessing over a murderer? It's like, why would they want you in their group? You're clearly unhinged. But I think part of it's all pretend. She's just like, my dad's the Joker, therefore I'm also crazy. When that's not how that works. But yeah, she's like obsessed with Joe Chill for some reason. So that's what we get out of there. So then we come to the conclusion that the reason Joe Chill has been given this coin, or that he wants to talk to him, is like the Court of Owls want to silence him. So what they do is they let him know that they're going to kill him, so then he goes and talks to people. And they don't go, oh, what we do, we want to silence this guy, so what we do is we just kill him. Rather than give him a coin to tell him that we're coming for him, and then never actually go for him. And we've not really got any reason to do this anyway, because he's on death row. At some point or another, he's going to get killed. You've got no reason to do any of this. All you've done is probed Joe Chill into talking to people. That's all you've done. You're not silencing anyone. Because he gets the information out anyway. So that's apparently how they set it up. Oh, they're trying to silence him, so they told him they're coming for him. Fucking worst secret society ever. But that's what they do it with every. They send him a coin when they're gonna kill him. We do get a reason for that later on. Even I'm like, the information we get out of Joe Chill, it's like I don't even know why you know that information. You must have more information to give us then, if you know the reason behind giving people coins. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much that. So, yeah, even they say, well, it could be a trap by the court. Yeah, I mean, it should be. It isn't. So, whatever. So I keep wanting to call him Connor. I don't know why. So, Turner goes and meets with Harvey. They're like, yeah, Harvey has stayed the execution of Joe Chill. When they could have just went to talk to him. They didn't need Harvey, the DA, to go, we're going to stay the execution of Joe Chill. Because that makes you look bad, Harvey. And you're running for mayor. Now people are like, why is he staying the execution of this guy? Even though it doesn't matter, because he gets executed in this episode. And it's like, well, you didn't need to stay his execution then. You didn't need any of that. So I don't know why they did it. Like, because he stays the execution, and then the execution continues on the the same time it was supposed to happen anyway. So it's like that you've just wasted time. So yeah, they meet up. They're like, let's go and find all this. I can't trust you because don't fucking care. And then like you got this guy who's also running for mayor. He's like, Harvey Dent stayed the execution of this murderer. Listen, you stayed his execution for 50 fucking years. Nobody's really got a leg to stand on when it comes to the execution of Joe Chill. Because I'm like, you kept him around for 50 years. At this point, you may as well just put him in Blackgate. Take him out of death row. He's already an old man. There's no point now, is there? No point whatsoever. So that's what's on the news. They're trying to figure out this cipher, which eventually we do get. First of all, they start having a drink of whiskey. Right, do that then, because that's fun to watch. And then I don't think we get any. I think it's the next scene with them where they figure out the cipher very easily based on nothing. So, yeah, do we have this? Now, we just get another scene with Carrie. It turns out this guy's doing his community service that took the fall for Stephanie, whatever. I don't fucking care. He's doing community service or something, so they're there. It's got nothing to do with anything else, so fucking cut it out. Just cut it out. You don't need it. Community service in a hospital. Do they give community service for that? You're running about all these drugs and everything. Right. You do community service in a hospital. I don't think I've ever heard of that before. Usually it's litter picking, not fucking, do you want to wheel around drugs all day even though you've committed a criminal offense? So maybe that's not the best thing to give you. Dunno. So then we finally get to the cipher. Duella's like, I'm quirky. So essentially she says to them, but like what I think it's Cullen that says, well, your dad's a quiz show host, so everything he says is actually a clue. Apparently, I don't know what you're basing that on. So then she says, "Now, all my dad said was, my little Sherlock, fear not. What does he say? You'll figure it out at last." So that's when our other genius, because we got a load of geniuses in this show. Everyone's got to be a genius, rather than just having people struggle with something. So she comes to the conclusion, I've got it. What your dad means is Sherlock fear last. Your dad was giving you a clue that in the Valley of Fear, which was the last Sherlock novel, the encoded message, we break the code by using a book. Essentially, what does she say? I think Stephanie says if she's right, the numbers in here, in the accounting book, whatever, correspond to a page, line, and a word in a book. Now, how many books are there in the fucking world? Billions. There's billions of books. Doesn't matter. Cullen picks up one book off the return shelf, and it's the right book. So that's how we done that. But again, so essentially, Stephanie's dad gave her nothing. Because she didn't have any, it's lucky that she knows, what's her face? What is her name? Harper. She's lucky she knows Harper, because otherwise, we'd be done. We'd be done with it. But dad gave her a clue to something that she has no reference of. I'm like, you haven't really helped out at all then, have you? So that's apparently how it's going to work it. They need... it's all ciphered in numbers, and they need to find the book that will give them the page number, the word number, and the line number. So that's how they work it. But where do we go now? It just never ends, this show. So yeah, that's that part. We come back to them a bit later on. But Harvey's now, he snuck a fugitive in to talk to, what's his face, to Joe Chill. It's Connor under there. So then they have a chat, which just equates to, I'm actually innocent. And that's all we get, so I'm just skipping by it. There's no point spending time on it. Turner straight away is like, I believe you. What? He hasn't shown you any proof. You know, they just have it. Actually, when I held up Martha Wayne and all that, bullets actually came behind me and took them out. I took a gun just to intimidate them. I was just a thief. So that's how they do it. It's like, oh, he's framed, and nobody listened to him. But me, Turner, I'm going to listen to him based on no evidence at all. All right, okay, so that's all we get out of that. That's why I'm not even going into it. So then at the hospital, he comes over and he says to her, can you go and talk to your mum? Because apparently her mum is the only fucking doctor or nurse in this hospital. They assume that she's the only nurse. It's like, no, there's loads of doctors. It's a fucking hospital. But he comes up and says, can you have a word with your mum? Because there is a guy that is dying that hasn't been seen to yet. What, so you went up to that desk just then, told the nurse there's someone dying in that room, and the nurse said, we ain't got no people. We haven't got any people. Yet for some reason, the guy that's dying has his own room and a bed, yet not a doctor or a nurse to sort him out. You know, generally, if the hospital is understaffed, it's full, generally people don't have a room or a bed. But no, there's just a guy that they are leaving in a room to die. He's went up and told them about it, and they've just went, fuck off, mate. We're not sorting that out. We ain't got enough staff, even though your job is to fucking save people, you pricks. So, yeah, they just assume, oh, go and talk to your mum, will you? And she's like, well, my mum's up to her eyeballs in work, so she can't possibly help me. So do you know what we're going to fucking do? Have you figured it out yet? You figured out what I don't know what happened to my camera there. I seen it in the side of my eye there. I'm like, what did I do there? I'll leave it. I'll leave it for now. We'll come back to it because it's going to be better when we actually reveal it. So then we come back here. This is great stuff. This is very interesting. So we just get stuff like, where did we get the other stuff yet? No. So he just says stuff like, where are we? So like they ask, what does the coin mean? And he tells them, oh, well, the coin is a message of we won. Even though they haven't killed them yet. Apparently they've won. They send out coins to people. Which just raises questions. Right. Okay. No, essentially all you do is you send coins to people to let them know that you're going to kill them so they run away or something like that. So they know, I don't know. Rather than just fucking kill them and that's it. I mean, that's what I'd do if I was in a secret society. I'd just go, right, he's going to talk, gut him like a fish. Just do that. We've got no reason to send coins off. We're just a secret society. Why are we playing games? Who knows? I don't know. What does he say? I think Turner says to him, to Joe Chill, that you're clearly a threat to the Court of Owls. Even though they just let him spill the beans. Even though what he knows is really nothing. Doesn't really know anything. So then he says, oh, one time in prison, I had a cellmate or something, and and the conversation turned to the Court of Owls, and he told me the key to finding the Court of Owls. Do you know what I'd do to find the Court of Owls? I'd go to the scene of the crime where Alan Wayne was killed. You know, in the sewers. That's where I'd go. I'd go and check there, because it's a little strange that he was, found there. But nobody, they still haven't done that. When that's, like, fucking obvious. It's like, you go there, then maybe you'll come across something. But we don't get any of that. So yeah, all we get is, this cellmate, he repeated the same rhyme over and over again. Beware the court of owls that watches all the time. We had that information already. We already had, right? You've just spent an entire episode, almost too much of an episode, on a rhyme that we already know about and that we haven't looked into for some reason. Even that though, that's like one of our biggest clues. We had to go and visit Joe Chill, who's on death row for some reason for 50 years. I don't know what to tell you. It makes no fucking sense why you wasted this long on a rhyme that we already had. We already knew it. So you've got no reason to do this, but whatever. It's your show. If you want to waste time, waste fucking time. So they're now looking for the right book out of billions. They're looking for a book that's over 700 words. That's apparently what they need. And then, like, they're looking through, but they're looking, because it's to do with the McKillans, which are Irish. So first of all, why aren't you just looking at Irish books? That would be the most obvious choice. But it's not until, we fucking come back here first. Fuck off. Let's just get over it. Again, nothing comes out of this. So, until eventually they come and say, oh, the governor has reinstated his execution. Just as he tells them that little rhyme I mentioned. So that's what's happening there. All right, we definitely did we skip over it? I hope we didn't skip over it. I don't think we did. We skipped over it. So, so he comes out with the first book he looks at that was in the return bin or something. He says is James Joyce's Ulysses. So it's like an Irish author. So I'm like, why weren't you just looking at the Irish books to begin with? Why were you looking at every single book? I really don't know. But even then, it's like you've got very little to go on. So that's what's happening there. So now we can get to the dumbest part of the episode. We're done with all that. So what we have here is a man that somehow has a bed, even though he hasn't got a doctor to sort out his problem. They've just left him there to die. Right, okay, that's how that works. So Carrie comes in, she's like, oh shit, he's all cut open, his belly and everything. Nurses and doctors have just left him like that. He's got a big cut along his belly that needs to get sewed up. And there's no doctors or nurses. So, of course, what Carrie does is she sends off this guy. He says, oh, go and get this equipment. Tell them it's for my mum. Even though, why would the nurses just hand out shit without it actually coming from someone that works there? Why would they just go, oh no, we'll give this guy that has community service, we'll hand him all these drugs and medication, knives, whatever it may be. We'll just hand it to him. When it's like, well, he could run off with them, though. He's here because he committed a crime. So the idea that you would just hand it off to him because he says, oh, Carrie's mum told me to come and get this. So that should already raise questions. So we'll come back to that soon enough. You can already see where it's going. It's going into just utter stupidity. So, I don't know, him and Connor have a conversation. I don't care about it. So she's like, I'm going to operate on this guy. Even though I am not a doctor, I am not a nurse, I have no experience. But fear not, because what I have done is when my mum was learning to be a nurse or a doctor, whatever you want to call it, she let me practice on a banana. Right, so a banana is not a fucking person. It'd be a different thing if you said, oh, I did it on a dog once. They'll go, yeah, fair enough. But a banana, that is your justification for not just going, there is a man dying in here, can you come and help him, you fucking dicks? Why would you not just opt for that, going, well, my mum isn't the only nurse or doctor in here. What I'll do is I'll run out to the hallway and scream at the top of my lungs, can you fucking assholes do your job and save this man that is currently dying that you have forgotten about for some reason? Your hospital should be shut down. You should all be fired for just leaving a man wide open dying in that room. And Carrie doesn't think that's an option, to just go and yell that there's a man dying here, can we get some help? She goes, I'll do it myself because I operated on a banana once. On a fucking banana. Fuck me, you could have come up with something better than I practiced on a banana. So yeah, she's going to stick, that's what you do when you've got no experience. You just go, oh, well, I'll just do it then, even though I'm not a doctor or nurse. And I only practiced on a banana when I was 5. Jesus Christ, you had so many options. And you're like, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to risk this man's life. Fucking idiot. Absolute idiot. So then twat face over here turns up. You know, he just says, oh, Joe was just like us once. Right, sure he was. So, yeah, then it turns out that Stephanie says, I have managed to decode. I have managed to decode one entry. There's thousands of entries in this book. And she's done one that turns out to be an address, and they're like, let's go there. Yeah, but that's an address out of thousands of addresses. She's only decoded one. I don't know how it's taken you that long. And you're just like, let's just go to this address. Even though we've got no reason to, really. So they go there. Let's just get on with it. Yeah, they go off to this address. We get even more stupid here. It turns out there's an operation going on with opioids out of not heroin, not cocaine. No, opioids. That's the big thing that we're selling. So that's what's they've all got guns, you know, AKs. And they're like, with no weapons, oh, we're all going to run in there and attack them and take them out, even though we're not we're not heroes. We don't have any. Oh no, Stephanie, she's a fencer. It's not very good against men with guns, is it? So that doesn't mean, oh, I can be a vigilante now. It's like, no, you ain't Batman. I don't know why we're pretending in this show that because this is Batman's adopted son, therefore he's up there with Batman. It's like, no, he can't fight like Batman. You know, and second of all, he doesn't even bring his sword either. Whatever. I don't know what. So yeah, they're gonna beat up these guys that all have guns. And then Stephanie's gonna get into a fight with a bag of opioids. I'm not even kidding. Yeah, so they're like, Duella's like, I ain't going in there with all those. I thought you were the crazy one. I thought you loved fighting people and all that. No, it's too far for her, apparently. So they're just like, let's go in and take them out, even though they've all got guns and we've got no, you know, no armor, no nothing. So they're like, well, what we have is the element of surprise. And how do you think they use that element of surprise? We'll get to it. We will get to it. So this guy comes in, is like, oh, Harvey, you took out that coin that I was given. It's you trying to scare me. And Harvey's like, no, I just want to warn you that your life is in danger because the court have sent you you're marked for death. So we get that for some reason mixed in with Joe Chill getting executed. So we're going from Joe Chill getting executed to Harvey having a conversation with this guy to the Gotham Knights beating up drug dealers. And I'm like, right, what are you trying to do with this? It seems a bit weird that you're having all these free things put in there. So he's being walked down the hall. So they've got the element of surprise. So what's his face does? What Turner does is he just runs in and jumps in the middle of this ring. Right, there's a load of guys there, all with guns. You've wasted your element of surprise. You fucking dickhead. What a waste. And I'm like, you know, it's obvious. It's like nobody uses their gun straight away. It's all, I'm just going to aim it at you for 10 seconds until your friend behind me knocks the gun out of my hand. Just pull the fucking trigger. That's all you got to do. So, yeah, they just start fighting them and all that. Stephanie just they do it all in slow motion. It's like, don't bother. What you're doing isn't cool. So then we go back to them. Like, I think that... no, this is still going on. So, yeah, that guy puts a gun up at her head, and she cries about that later. She didn't think before she went in there that those are men with guns, they might put it to my head. She didn't even she didn't even consider that. So, yeah, someone throws... yeah, she starts beating up a bag of opioids. It's like, see if you want to destroy opioids, don't punch them. What you do is, you know, you throw them in the river or something. But, you know, it's because her mum's a junkie addicted to opioids, so she's all upset about it, just out of the blue. So she hits a bag of opioids. And I'm like, she's like, that will clearly destroy them. You're having a fight with a bag of opioids. You know, I don't know what else to say. So then it's just as Joe Chill gets executed. For some reason, we also have, lightning strikes also. The lights go off in Harvey's office. Harvey turns around and this guy's here, the Talon, and he puts a blade right through this right, and that guy lives, by the way. That guy lives from that. So the Talon has now revealed himself. I mean, you know, you're supposed to be like one of the best assassins, apparently, yet you failed to kill this guy. And you let Harvey live, so Harvey's also senior. And I'm like, you're a secret society. Why are you making it obvious that you're around? I don't know how you go to kill this guy and you don't actually finish the job. Surely you'd make sure he was dead. You wanted him dead. So the Talon is shit. I mean, he got beaten by a bunch of kids in episode 2, so it's not really a surprise, is it? So now he's let himself be seen. Right, you work for a secret society. They don't want people knowing about them. So maybe you want to kill Harvey as well. So you don't have eyewitnesses. But then again, it doesn't matter. You haven't killed that other guy properly. Unbelievable. So then we have the Gotham Knights have captured these people. They leave their marking on the floor. We're the Gotham Knights. We're heroes. Even though actually we're just idiots who only managed to beat these guys because the script deemed it so. When if this was reality, you would not beat a bunch of guys with guns. You don't have those abilities. You're not up there with Batman. I mean, even Batman wouldn't just throw himself right into the center of all these people with guns. You know, he'd take them out one by one. He would do something along those lines. So he's dead. She's upset about it. Whatever. We're now going into, it's all somber music. Every episode. So, yeah, he's alive. The Talon's shit. He didn't do a good job. She operated on a guy because she done it on a banana once. Honestly, some of the shit you have to say when you watch these shows, I'm like, I never thought that would come out of my mouth, that she operated on a guy because she practiced on a banana. I never thought that would come out of my mouth, but here we are in 2023. I have to say that. I have to literally say that. And it's not a comedy. This isn't a comedy. It's supposed to be taken seriously. And you've got someone operating on someone because they did it on a banana once. So, yeah, Stephanie's all upset. She's like, that guy was close to, blowing my brains out. And I'm like, you didn't consider that before you ran into a room full of men with guns and you didn't have any weapons yourself or bulletproof vests, and now you're like crying about it. You know, whatever. I'm just gonna skip by it. These are the most annoying parts of the episode where all the somber music comes in. It's all emotional, and I'm like, I don't know why. I don't know why we end every episode in the same way. You know, sometimes you can have a cliffhanger. No, we don't. We never do any of that. So yeah, they just have a long-winded shite about shite. He's upset about his dad, who turns out to be okay. They've saved him already. Even though they, like, 10 minutes ago, this hospital was understaffed. Yet they've managed to save this guy's life. And nobody else. You know, apparently, they seem to be operating on the basis that the only doctor in the place is Carrie's mum. And that is it. Whatever. So, yeah, it turns out his dad's fine. He's going to pull through. Even though the Talon wanted him dead, and he fucked it up. So then Harvey does a Two-Face thing. He gets angry at a mirror, and he punches it. And then we have the mirror come down like that. You think it's Two-Face. He's got two faces. I'm like, stop making it so obvious. You don't need to do that. I'm like, I can't really figure out how you're going to have Two-Face in this series as well. It's like you've got 12 episodes. You ain't got enough time. You ain't got enough. You're not getting a second season. There's no way. So I'm like, it's pointless. And that brings us to the end of the episode. Wow, what an episode. I think after that, it's safe to say the worst episode. I don't think any of the other episodes have been as bad as that. We had a pointless conversation where the only information, the only information we got was, oh, you know that rhyme that we've heard in every episode? That's apparently the key to finding them. Because they never thought to think about that before. So we didn't get anything new out of that, so that was a waste of time. We had the side story with Carrie, where she operates on a man because she did it on a banana once. That didn't go anywhere. I guess the only way that played into it was the guy's dad who got stabbed in the back. But other than that side story had nothing to do with anything. You know, well, I suppose all it done was, Carrie's dumb as fuck. That's all it done there. And then we had the Talon fail to kill someone. Even though he stabbed him right through. And I'm like, there's no way you're surviving that. That's a hard one to survive. I mean, you've opened him up fully, back and front. All the blood coming out of it is very unlikely that you're going to survive that. But he did anyway, because we had to make the Talon shit. So I'm like, why should I be scared of this guy? When he can't even kill someone properly. He can't even though that's his job, he's an assassin. And he couldn't even get that right. He even let Harvey see him. So there's now 2 eyewitnesses that can say, yeah, there was a man in an owl costume. Even though, you know, see if they try and play it as, oh, well, people just won't believe him. Well, I'm like, you live in Gotham City. You've got people like Batman, the Joker, all these types of people. I'm pretty sure a secret society is not a far stretch, or a man in an owl costume is not a far stretch. But they're probably going to play it as, nobody believes us. It's like, well, no, people should believe you, though. It's Gotham. So that's pretty much the entire episode. I still can't believe they introduced the death penalty. It's like you've just written yourself into a corner with that one. And you've also made the stuff that came before you not make any sense. You know, within this universe. It now makes no sense. You now can't say Batman was fighting Joker for years. Because Joker should have gotten the death penalty. And that's probably our recap of everything in this episode. But yeah, the funniest thing is the fact that she operated on someone because she done it on a banana. I don't know what more to say, but we've been here like 50 minutes, so we might as well finish there. But that is this week's episode. We're now, at least we're at the halfway point. Hopefully we get another break at some point. You know, I doubt it. But 6 episodes to go. Yay. I can't wait to finish.